Hello and welcome to today's LOL Esports Round Up. We're going to cover the bit of news that happened over the last week. I always end up having to wipe my glasses up. I don't realize how much crap's on them and dust until I look into the camera and the light's going off. News. This is what's happened the last week. We've touched on some of this already a couple weeks ago, months ago even, but something to, go over again, fills out the board. So the freshest news is Emenez has been cut by C9. So the rumor is that JoJo is going to replace him. I don't go into rumors. I understand I think even C9 would have announced it themselves, but it's not in the global contract database yet. So once free agency starts next week, we will have that to go over. There won't be timestamps in this video, so good luck skipping around. That's for Gerb. I'm stuttered because I wanted to do this last, but I'm going to do it first. So the next week, I plan on doing 3 videos dedicated to Worlds. It's not going to be like last week with the Final Four because I already did that. So the stats are going to be what they are, and it's only a handful more games to affect them. So I'm going to have a couple Worlds-themed videos Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Saturday will obviously be the roundup, but Thursday, Friday, I have some big ideas and how I want to handle those. And then I think tomorrow and Wednesday will be some free agency videos, and that will also occur next week as free agency begins a week from tomorrow or today. And I'm going to try and double upload if I have to Saturday just to get all 4 major regions done this week so you guys will have all those primers ready. I understand, like I said, the Twitter Pokemon are putting out a bunch of stuff, but I am not going to go into that. I'm going to go based off of what the contracts are, and then next week when people start getting signed officially, then in the roundup, just like I'm doing now, we'll be discussing it. So first, Cloud9 and Emenez. 4.3 KDA, 8.7 CS per minute, 69.5 KP. Very coin flip, but still one of the better mids in the LCS. Korean import. We'll see what happens. He does have to take some sensitivity training, I believe, before he can come back to play for an org after his solo queue incident this past Worlds. Or not this past, but at Worlds. 425 gold per minute. That's about 22% of the team's gold. 629 damage per minute. That was about 27.5% of damage. So he is a secondary carry solidly on that C9 roster. We'll see what ends up happening with him now. Laning-wise, he was not overly dominant in 35 games. Only up 100, well, actually 70 gold and 65 XP. So not super, like I said, not super dominant. But we have to keep in mind that a handful of those games did occur at Worlds. These are regular season plus playoffs plus World stats. 14 solo kills, 15 champions, 35 games. Nobody can say that his champion pool isn't large. He can play a lot of different things. We saw him solo kill a lot of people in Academy in spring. He then joined the roster and in one split and played 35 games for them. In summer, and did well. Spring, he played half the split. Diplex was allowed to leave as well. Hindsight, maybe they should have hung on to Diplex, but I mean, if they're going to go with JoJo, then obviously he's an improvement over both. EG, so this is like kind of old news, but I think it's worth talking about. So Inspired is allowed to leave now. So he's left EG. Before, he was inactive, allowed to seek other opportunities. So I view that in the way that teams in traditional sports, being American, I look at the traditional 4 sports in the U.S. Teams will sometimes tell a player or a player's agent, hey, you can go look and talk to other teams and try and facilitate a trade. Or in the case of LOL Esports, oftentimes a buyout. So I think that's what happened over the last 6 months. Nobody took it. And so EG finally cut him now. Inspired, I consider to be one of the best junglers in the West. Yike, I think, overtook him for me right now, but Inspired could easily take that spot back. I'm a very big Inspired fan. 4.9 KDA, 5.5 CS per minute, 73.7 KP. These numbers are all very good. 322 gold per minute was 18% of EG's gold. 330 damage per minute, that was 14% of the damage. On average, he was not overly dominant at 15 minutes in spring. Down 20 gold, up 60 XP. No solo kills, 9 champions, 25 games. So left a lot to be desired. EG ends up tearing down the roster between spring and summer and goes with a very different look. And honestly, I did, excuse me, I really enjoyed the Unforgiven part in bot lane. But, you know, as far as jungle is concerned, I would have preferred Inspired playing, but I think due to import rules, that probably wasn't feasible. Actually, yeah, I don't know. It's neither. I'm not even going to think about it more. So, they played 2 junglers in spring. So they played Shaden. Shaden is the rumored player to take over the roster this upcoming year. He has been highly touted in, Academy for a while. 3-1 KDA, 4-6 CS per minute, 76-3 KP. These are 10 games from the playoffs. These do not include the 3 games where he went 3-0 in regular season. So very facilitator oriented in the playoffs, not getting a lot of farm, but making things happen. 313 gold per minute, that's 17% of the gold. 247 damage per minute, under 12% of damage, so not dealing as much damage. But keep in mind, this is a different meta, different team. On average, he was behind, down 125 gold a camp and 75 XP, no solo kills, 3 champions in 10 games. So, like I said, it was in the playoffs. He's against the best players in the LCS. He's a young player with not a lot of experience at that level, so, it's going to leave a little bit to be desired. But at the same time, I do recall him being very dominant in early game as part of one of his hallmarks when it came to earning a call-up. So we'll see if he can return to that. Armeo is also on the roster. I believe he is a free agent next week, however, and is a veteran. Has went by Grig in the past, if you recall. 4-5 KDA, 4-9 CS per minute, 81 KP in 15 games in the regular season. So he would lose his job towards the end of the regular season. Shaden would take it over for playoffs. But Armeo, very similar, facilitator-oriented, very high KP. The team did not fight when he was not around. 335 gold per minute was about 18% of gold. 296 damage per minute was about 14% of damage, so similar splits to Inspired. On average, down 65 gold, 5 CS, 100 XP, 1 solo kill, 8 champions played. So, like I said, they're going to Shaden, but these are Armeo stats, so keep these in mind when free agency begins next week. Lastly, KDF. So this is also an allowed players to leave, but nobody wanted to pay for him, so we let him go situation. So June has been let go by the Freecs. They have officially went with Andal for next year, at least at this point. They did extend Andal's contract, if I recall. So June, alongside Taeyun, that was a DRX Challenger duo that KDF brought in for last year. 2.8 KDA, 72.4 KP, 194 damage per minute, 2.94 vision score per minute, would place about 8 to, around 8 wards every 5 minutes. A control ward every other minute, would clear 1 ward every 4 minutes, 8 champions in 18 games. So KDF stunk, frankly, and these players did not win many games. I think Junmei went 8-10, but Andal went like 2-18. So Andal gets the job. And his stats are not very good. But he was a rookie, and KDF stunk. So, what's there really to say? 1-3 KDA, 64-9 KP. So, he died a lot, and yet did not get involved very much in the KP department. You could argue that because he wasn't involved, he couldn't get assists to boost the KDA. I think that's fair. 127 damage per minute kind of goes to show you, too, the different meta. We do have to respect that. 283 vision score per minute, around the same vision score, placed about 8 wards as well. Almost a control ward every other minute, cleared slightly. He cleared slightly more control wards than June, while putting down slightly less. I mean, and by slightly, I mean we're, like barely anything. 7 champions in 20 games. So KDF, their entire roster, I believe, is under contract for next year. So it's one of the few rosters we can say that about in the 4 major regions. And I don't know if that's what they're going to do going forward. Bulldog is kind of just suffering there in mid lane. And Dudu has done a fantastic job in top lane and really put his name out there. But he is under contract, so, he's kind of locked in place too. So that's it for the roundup. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.